what happened was in 1979, I had a band I was playing with called McKitty. It was a Donovan McKitty guitar, 3-piece, Donovan McKitty guitar. Wonderful, wonderful. It was a reincarnation of Jimi Hendrix, this lad, but playing right-handed. And the only problem was he couldn't sing as good as Jimmy. So me and the manager discussed getting him singing lessons. A guy called Neville Roberts was managing the band. And we had Charlie Toomerhire on bass. Now, Charlie used to be in a band called Bebop Deluxe way back in the late 60s, early 70s. And it was a stunning 3-piece. Well, we were invited to do a show in Belgium. I can't remember the name of the venue. It was actually an indoor festival. And I believe Judas Priest was supposed to headline it, and they had a hit with another thing coming, I think. And then Nazareth ended up playing. But we were on this bill, and I'll never forget it because it was Iron Maiden's very first European date. They'd never been out of England, so this was their very first gig. So we all, we arrived in the town the day before, and I remember Steve would tell the story better than me, but I was walking across this square. There was a little carnival going on, and there was Donovan, who was 6'3", African Jamaican, big afro hair, me in a white suit and a fedora, walking across with Charlie Toomerhire, who was an Aboriginal New Zealander, right? Right? And so we're walking across it, and Harry says, when I first saw it, I thought he was a pimp. So he remembered me before he even knew who I was, if you see where I'm going with this, right? So then what happened was we were doing the show, and Steve, even today, he'll always go and stand on the side and watch the support bands, even if it's his daughter's band. He sees her so many times, but he'll always go up and at least say about 45 minutes or sometimes the whole set for our support acts, because that's the way Steve is. And we all do occasionally get together and like to see our support bands and support them. But, we go and listen to them. If they're no good, then we don't go back anymore. But that doesn't happen very often. So he was on the side of the stage, and what happened was Donovan's guitar amp blew up. And so there's just the two of us, me and Charlie, playing without the guitar, and he's we're carrying it on, and Donovan's going, it's finished. And we thought, well, we did an impromptu drum solo and bass solo. So fortunately enough, most of the people who were in the room, because I did the solo first, but you know what happens after the drum solo? 9 times out of 10 is a bass solo, boys and girls, so people tend to wander off to the bar. Anyway, never mind. So he goes off and he does his bass in his face. You're not a bass player, are you, Davey boy? Anyway, so he's standing on the side of the stage, and he said afterwards, he came up and he said, I don't think I've ever seen anything so fantastic as that in my life. He said, that drum solo was brilliant, and the bass solo, he said, I don't like drum solos and bass solos. So that then was planted in his mind. Apart from the fact that Donovan and Charlie ended up having a blazing argument in the caravan. We had these caravans for changing in, and there were beer bottles being thrown out of busted windows and stuff. And Harry thought it was me. He always thought I was the one having the argument. I was the observer in this case, and these two are going at it, So the memory that he took from that experience went forward. And then I did a telly show, and Clive was very sick, and they had to go back funny enough, to Brussels to do a live. It was singing live, miming. And they phoned me up, Rob Smallwood, the manager, and said, would you come over and be Eddie? So I had an Eddie mask on, and it was boiling hot under there, especially with all the studio lights. I thought, I'm doing this for 50 quid, and I'm killing myself, I'm only miming, So we did 3 songs. So that was really my first appearance, although I was Eddie with my name.
You were a ringer.
I was a ringer. Then then time goes by. Then Trust, I joined a band called Trust, and we ended up tour supporting Iron Maiden in Germany, and they supported us on a few shows. But we did an English tour on the Killers tour with them. This was when Paul Di'Anno was in the band, and so Steve got to see me playing with these guys every night, and he really liked Trust. So the inevitable thing that happened was once Clive wasn't doing too well, he thought of me, and that's how I got the job.